Hello everyone, it's Jill here and welcome to my craft. Today I'm doing my March Christmas card challenge and I'm going to be using a set of stamps from Chicolate Baroque. This one's Mistletoe and there's two different designs. These are all about inking backgrounds really. So I'm going to show you how I've done those. So to start with, we need some watercolour paper. I'm working on a 6x4 card, so I've cut this slightly smaller. So for the first one, we'll work on the green one first. I've started with Distress Inks, and I've got here, what have I got? Old paper. So that's the first colour that I'm going to pop down. Let's grab my little piece of scrap card. And just going to start with a little bit in the middle. As you can see, it's got a slight green tinge to it, this one. Let's pop that card out of the way. So it's one of the older colours from the set of Distress Inks. So just pop that down. Obviously a bit difficult to rub over until it's got some ink down on there. It's quite a light colour. I wanted that nice light centre for it. And then I've gone to some Evergreen Bough, which is one of the newer colours. Lovely colour, this one. Just pop that in there. That's it. Anyhow, I'll do almost. Just try and give it a bit of a decent circular motion, and then to bring in a bit of a nice warmth to it, I've got crushed olive. Just go around on the top of that. As you can see, that's almost a yellow colour there. Just keeping it to the outside edges again. That's rather a lot of that. And then I'm using one of the newer colours. This is the Rustic Wilderness. Just put that in there. And that just gives it that lovely green tone. I love this colour. Beautiful. And that just tones down that crushed olive a little bit as well. Right, then I'm going to come back in again with my old paper and just blend everything together. Give it another once over. So that's the base for that. Now then, I'm just going to do some water splats. Let's chuck my little... I'm going to do a little bit on my hand. And wouldn't you know, I've forgotten my paper towel, so just go and get some paper towel. There we go. I'm just going to pop that down like that, just to pick up the little splats, and then that just gives us a little bit of interest in the background. I'm just going to dry that off. I'm now going to stamp on it. This is a £90 weight card, so it's not too thick and heavy. There we are, that's that done then. And to stamp, I'm going to use my little stamping platform because it's going onto watercolour cardstock. You may need to do 2 or 3 impressions. So this is my little stamping tool that my friend made for me. Just going to check that that's lined up. Yes, that's fine. Put my little magnets on the edges there. And I'm going to stamp in archival. make sure that's in shot. All the inks are in the way, the desk's a bit of a clutter. So here's the actual, right, can't see that in shot there, can you? There's the actual stamp itself. So let's get going there. Stamp that up with archival. Now I found on that first one I did, I had to go in 2 or 3 times with this. I don't know why, my ink pad's brand new and I don't think it's very juicy for some reason. You can see that's quite a light impression, so let's come in again. Because what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to use my water brush and take some of the colour off for the berries and things. There we go. Let's give that a bit of a chance to transfer. As you can see, I've put the 2 stamps together. The one that comes separately, the word mistletoe, and the actual focal point there. There are other stamps in this set. There's another piece of mistletoe, there's a little sentiment, and then there's a little Christmas verse, but these are the 2 that I'm using for the moment. As I said, it's just a bit difficult sometimes to get from a first impression. Let's have a look. No, I think I need to go again on that one, you see. Let's just do the centre part. It's just the actual berries and the berries itself from the leaves. Text seems to be alright, doesn't really matter if that fades out into the background. Let's go again. So give that a second or 2 to transfer again. There we go. Brilliant. So just pop the stamping platform over that side and just make sure that's very dry by just giving it another little go over. So I don't mind that it's quite faded because it is giving more of a vintage look to it. Well, they've got some sort of outline to work with. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Right, water brush, a little bit of water. My water brush isn't very juicy. And I'm just going to take some of the ink out of the berries. Just to bleach them out a little bit. Let's see how we go here. You just do this 2 or 3 times and it lifts some of the ink. Just give you those lovely white berries. There we go, I think that's probably enough for that. And then the leaves I'm actually going to colour in using some of the Rustic Wilderness. So just pop that back in there. A little bit of ink onto the ink pad. Maybe a tad more. And a little bit of water because I don't want it too bright. So I'm just coming in gently down here like so. Gone over the edge. And that just adds a little bit of colour there. And then I'm just going to go in with some of the stronger colour just to, there we go, just where the little dark lines are here, that's showing you where the shading should go. So we can just pop in there with a bit darker colour. It just makes those little leaves pop. Very therapeutic colouring, I find. Bring this down a bit more. Obviously, being a watercolour card, it will take quite a lot of moisture. There we go, that's that one. Let's do the stems. So I wanted to make this card fairly flat. Again, we've got the postage to consider later on. Okay, great. Now, normally what I do with this is I get a piece of leftover cardstock, either a bit more water or as is, and then just soak that up so that we don't waste our ink. Just pop that to one side, and I will be using that on another craft project later. Right, let's try this again. Excellent. Right, to edge this off, I've come in with some gathered twigs, which is a nice warm brown. I'm just going to come in gently. Just around the edges. So if you hold your tool when you're doing, and you want a small amount, at an angle rather than flat, you will get a smaller edge on. There we are, so that finishes that off quite nicely. Just pick that up. Dry that off again, because I'm now going to do some glittering. So it's coming together quite nicely now. It's quite effective. Right, little berries. I'm using my Cricky glue pen. Just make sure I'm getting some glue through. Yeah, there we go. And I'm using some holographic glitter. So obviously each time you do these kind of backgrounds, they're going to be looking a little bit different each time. And that's the whole fun of handmade. Okay, pop that back on there. There we go, so we've got some nice sparkly berries now. You can see that. And then the last little thing I want to do with this is some paint splats. I'm just going to take some of this glitter off because I don't want it all over. I just wanted the berries. Clean the desk. Right, so for my paint splats, I'm using some white acrylic paint. Tiny little drop of that. Now, I tried one with a Posca pen earlier, and my goodness, bit of a mess. Didn't go down too well. Right, first off, I'm just going to get a little bit of paper underneath. Right, let's just do that so much. Right, first of all, I just take off the first few splats and then come in and just tap lightly. So you can get those lovely little splats then. Yes, my Posca pen was a bit of a disaster. Great if you can use them. Mine came out on a great big long streak right the way through the middle. Do we need more? Yes, we always need more, don't we? And there we go. There's a little paint splat's gone on there. And that's given that a lovely, almost distressed look there. So right, let's just pop that one to one side. And I will come in and show you how I've done the other one. All you need to do with this one then, when it's dry, is just to mount it up onto your card, like so. Okay. And that one's done. Right, so for the second one, a very similar type of technique, and just using different colours. So to start with on this one, right, let me just check my little ink daubers. Where am I? We're going to use bundled sage, and I just need that one over there. So let's come in as before. Take a little bit of paper. And that just gives that lovely green centre to it. Brilliant. And the other colour that I've used is tea dye. A couple of the older colours again. Let's get some ink down. There we go. Where's my lid gone? There's my lid. That's my lid. Right, and then I've come in with some Rustic Wilderness. So not very much of that, because I really wanted this to be more about the vintagey browns. And then back to gathered twigs. So that's enough of that. And then back to my tea dye again. I'm just going to make sure this is all blended in nicely now. As you can see, I've got lots of circular marks around here. I'm just going to tone that down with the tea dye. Now then, just to add a little bit of interest to this one, I'm going to do some little ink splats. So, not splats, but we're going to pick up a little bit. Start with a little bit of the Rustic Wilderness. Just water it down a bit. Turn your card over and just gently pop it in like so, just to pick up little bits and pieces. Look at that. Fabulous. Right, we need to dry that. Again, this is going to be a bit of a different look to the one that I've just done, because it is. Because nothing's that predictable when we come to these kind of backgrounds. Now, by drying it in between, it just keeps the little edges of the dots, and it saves it all blobbing into one and ending up with a muddy mess. So this I'm going to take off now. Let's just carry on drying. And I'm just going to come in with some gathered twigs and do exactly the same. Just adding a little bit of interest. So I just like to give it a quick blast, and then if I've got any really big blobs, I can just slightly lift them with that. I'm just going to go into the stamping in a moment, so we need to make sure this is really dry. Let's put my back to my stamping tool. Just check that card, the width of that card, to make sure that goes on okay. Yes. So with this one, I'm going to heat emboss. So I'm just going to put my little duster over it. Stay that. And I'm going to stamp in the VersaFine Clair in Pinecone. Now this is a really, really dark brown, more like a brown black. So just ink up my stamp. And this ink pad is a lot more juicy than my archival. but because of the watercolour again, I probably still need to do 2 stamp things. Let's give that a bit of a push. See what we've got there. Yeah, we need to come in again. My craft desk is so full up today. I have to keep moving everything. Right, there we go. And this is the beauty of these stamping tools that we have. We know that when we stamp, we can go back in and it will stamp in exactly the same place. Right, just give that a bit of pressure to transfer that ink. Just a little bit of time. I think that's quite nice actually. Right, just going to give it one more quick go just to make sure I've got enough wet ink in there to take the embossing powder. And there we go. Obviously we've got a bit of open time, which means it takes a little while to dry, if you're not sure what that means. And I'm coming in with some Detail Clear embossing powder. Let's grab my little bit of paper here. And always put your embossing powder away as you go, because it gets everywhere again. We don't need all of that, do we? So save it for later, another day. Right, let's bring that in and again start to emboss. And there we go, all done. It's all lovely and shiny. Job done. Right, now with this one again, I'm going to paint my little berries, and I'm going to paint them in some gold paint. I'll just put my little bit down there. Oh, 10 times more than enough, I think, but there we go. There we go, a little tiny bit of water, because I don't want it solid. I want to be able to see some of the detail in these little berries, and although the embossing will offer a resist, I don't want it to be too thick, this paint. As you can see, that's already taking out some of the detail. Again, this is just a different look. If you like something a bit darker, a bit more vintagey, a bit more distressed. And there we go, that's that one done. Okay. Yeah, I could have done about 300 berries with that amount. Never mind. Now then, the copper, I've got Martha Stewart Metallic multi-surface. So let's just have a, again, similar principle. Bit of that with a bit of water. I just need to clean my brush off, which I'm just going to do by doing that. And then that's it, it's only a tiny amount, isn't it? Take that off there. So yeah, again, a little bit of water, just to water that paint down. I don't want to take out all detail on the leaves. Could do with a little piece of paper there. Let's stop me leaning on that. There we go. That's better. And there we go. That's all you do. Just go in and paint the leaves with the copper colour paint. There we go. That one. Oh, that's my little dog whinging in the background, if you can hear him. He's saying, "What about me? What about me? Don't forget me." So you can use, if you've got any sort of twinkling H2Os or mica powders or anything like that on this. It just so happened that I actually had this paint and thought, that would look quite nice. I think. And there we go. So that's that one. Again, I've put way too much paint out, but there we go. Such is life. Let's take that off there. Right, I'm just going to give that a little dry. Oh, guess what? I forgot to do the leaves. Woohoo! Let's do that then. The stems. That's it. So it's exactly the same principle as the other one, really. Just put your little stems in. And the embossing line's quite nice, so it saves you, hopefully, from going over the edges. And there we go, done. Put that one up there. Job done. So that's our two toppers for our two cards. Different look on both of them. When I mounted this one up, as you can see, I've just popped a bit of red ribbon around it. I just wanted a little ping of colour, but you can see the difference there. One's slightly darker than the other, but that is the joy of this type of background. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Have fun and see you again next time. Bye bye.